Breaking news, the prosecution in Hunter Biden's federal gun trial has rested its case. These are live pictures from outside the courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware. The president's son is facing 3 felony charges from a gun purchase he made in October 2018. Prosecutors say he lied when he checked no on the application form, saying he wasn't an addict or using illegal drugs. They called 10 witnesses over 4 days. Now it's the defense's turn to bring its case. NewsNation's Joe Khalil is outside the federal courthouse in Delaware. Joe, you've been inside and outside of that courtroom to hear the testimony today. How did the prosecution wrap up their case?
So they wrapped up with 2 law enforcement officials, effectively. You had an expert on from the DEA who testified last, and he was talking about certain code words that drug dealers tend to use, which you can find in some of the messages that Hunter Biden sent. I do have some news, Nick. We now know the 2 witnesses that the defense plans on bringing forward. They are Jason Turner and Ron Palmer, both of whom worked at the gun store that Hunter Biden bought that gun. And the defense said that it is possible they bring a 3rd person, but they're going to start with those 2 and then move forward from there. Also interesting that as soon as the prosecution wrapped up its case, the judge wanted to break for about 30 minutes so that the defense could prepare to get going. And the defense, Abby Lowell, Hunter's lead attorney here, made a request to the judge for an acquittal on all 3 of the counts. He said the first count he finds unconstitutional under the Second Amendment, that the second count was that there was a statute governing what happened there that ended up being changed in 2022 by Congress. And then the 3rd count, he says there is an insufficient standard that has not yet been met. So he asked the judge for an outright acquittal. And in that moment, as he was requesting that, per our producer, Chelsea, who was in the courtroom, the judge, Mary Ellen Noreka, literally smiled, sort of almost laughing at that point. And Abby Lowell actually stopped at one point and interrupted and said, "I see by your laughter that you may not be convinced or you may be skeptical about the arguments I'm making for acquittal," to which our producer says the judge responded with something to the effect of, "No, I just think it's interesting." So they're on this break right now. We will see what the judge rules in this acquittal. I think we likely have our answer based on that sort of body language and that interaction in the courtroom, Nick. So that is where we are right now. In about 15 minutes or so, this trial will continue with the defense. But interesting, all that activity in just the last couple of minutes here.
Just the last couple of minutes. And Joe, you said earlier that it is possible that this could wrap up today.
Yeah, again, we've got these 2 witnesses here, and if their testimony isn't extremely long, we could have this totally done by the middle of the afternoon. Now, we still don't know definitively whether Hunter Biden is going to take the stand or not. It seems like it may be a stretch, it may be a risk, but if they decide to put Hunter on, there's going to be a cross-examination, and I imagine that would take quite a bit of time here. If he does not testify, then these witnesses today have been going through relatively quickly. So it is possible, absolutely, that by the end of the day, by the afternoon, these 2 witnesses could be done. The defense might say, we're all set with our case, and then this goes to a jury before we leave here today.
And Joe, you talked about this acquittal, that the defense filed that motion for acquittal. The judge will come back with a ruling on that this afternoon, correct?
Yeah, we should hear in pretty short order, because if she rules against that, then the defense has to continue on with their case. So
right.
We're going to find out, I imagine, pretty soon here, the verdict of that, anyway.
This could be a very interesting weekend. Joe Khalil live for us at the federal courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware. Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.